Definitely hard going into it, knowing that people might not have faith in you, might not think that you can do it. I've really had to work to overcome that misconception, those stereotypes. I've had a lot of coaches who kind of said to me, like, we can't really take you on as an athlete because of your impairment. You can't do the same things as your teammates. It's holding the team back. I've been called a liability. Because I really want to advocate that I am capable of doing this. My friends who have impairments are capable of doing this. It doesn't mean that we just have to be recreational athletes. We can compete at a varsity level. We can be competitive and win races.
With sweeping, you have to be a lot more put a lot more emphasis on things than you would sculling. If you're at a U23 senior level, you can start being a little bit more strategic in how you place the blade. And I can say that with trusting that you're not gonna pull like a U19, U17 and just. The steering is primarily like a timing and like a tech problem. We'll figure it out.
I'm Mia Biancanello. I'm from St. Catharines, Ontario. I've been rowing for about 6 years now. I row for Brock's team and I row for the St. Catharines Rowing Club. I was born with a genetic condition called oculocutaneous albinism. It affects the pigment and the melanin in your skin, which plays a big role in the development of your eyes. And so because I have that kind of delay in pigment, my eyes did not develop correctly, and hence I am visually impaired. So my vision has affected me my whole life. I have depth perception issues. I have very big fatigue. I had a hard time seeing the ball when I was playing soccer, following along in a dance class, and so I was kind of looking for something new to keep me active, and one of my neighbors was very into rowing at the time, so I did like a learn to row camp and I just loved it. So when I transitioned from elementary school to high school, I signed up for my high school's rowing team, and I just have been going ever since. I've enjoyed it so much. This team has been really good. I've had really good experiences with my coach, Liz Anese. Probably the reason why I've stayed in the sport is because I've had her support for so long from a coaching perspective. She's always been willing to put me in a successful spot, push me to my limit, just like she would any of her other athletes. When I started rowing, I looked for athletes who were like me, who had similar impairments, because they don't advertise that the same way they advertise other athletes that most people look up to in their sport. One of the first ones that I really did look up to was Victoria Nolan. So she's another visually impaired athlete. I've always looked up to her from like a bystander point because of how she's persevered in the sport and pushed herself even through vision loss. I was able to see a lot of the things I've gone through her, and that was really nice. And she's just a great person. When I've talked to her, she's so kind and so willing to give support.
What I love about rowing is that in my everyday life, I walk around very careful and nervous. Everything I do is slow because I'm afraid of getting hurt. When I get in the boat, all of a sudden I have that freedom. I don't have to worry about where I'm going. There's someone else steering the boat. I can go as fast as I possibly can, and it's just so exhilarating. You feel like you're flying. One of my fondest memories was rowing here in St. Catharines at the Royal Henley Regatta. It was Canada versus the US, and my husband actually brought a whole school bus of people down from Toronto to come and watch the race. So the stands, it was packed. All of my friends and family were there. As we were racing, you could hear the whole crowd. It was just a great race. Ended up coming down to a photo finish. We had to sit there and wait for the results. The US beat us by like 1/100th of a second, so it was a pretty amazing experience. Regardless of what you're racing for, it's about your own efforts and your own goals outside of, what the external result might be. You can't have your goal being something that you have no control over, because you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. When you're setting a goal, part of it has to be something you're in control of. So whether it's making sure that you push yourself as far as you possibly can, whether it's really working on nailing those technical aspects of the race, whatever it is that at the end of the day you can say you did it, so that you can feel proud no matter what the result is.
From an athletic standpoint, I'm trying to prepare myself for my university season, hoping to be the fittest I can be for our training camp and selection process. From an advocacy standpoint, I'm trying to just implement more para races where I can. I'm trying to advocate for para athletes to be included. So for me right now, my goal is our Ontario University Championships. I'm trying to make sure that we have an event for para athletes, that our race is set up and accommodating. I'm also trying to get that at our national championship. Have that population show up and show that we can be competitive and we can do something hard like this.